always a visitor.
That transition from a visitor to maybe part-timer and then full-timer and retire. It really is that.
Because it's addicting, the slow country. You touched something, it wasn't on our question, but I thought it was a good point to draw on. I feel like the low country, and you being with Island Events and meeting so many of the businesses, we're not a big national brand. Let's talk about it, because you said support the locals, right? Because it is the lifeblood, and without the tourists and without the locals supporting it. So talk about, who's in this, and their local stories, local people. Share a little more on that.
I think that it really stems from our connection is we're a local business. We gas up our Island Events vans at Parker's and End Market, and we're here. We're a local business. And national chains do exist on Hilton Head, but they don't thrive on Hilton Head. I think that's a big difference, is that you're not losing some conveniences and comfort, but they're not going to be your prominence. They're not going to be what you're really seeing, what you're really feeling on Hilton Head. You're going to see smaller businesses, you're going to see mom and pop shops, and you're going to just, through my experience working with Island Events, I've been able to connect with those business owners. And so some of them I've had meetings at their house, some of them I've just you're in their restaurant, you're in their place, so you really do feel that connection. And even if you're not talking directly with the business owner, I am every single issue of Island Events. So there's never a month of non-contact. So if you're looking at someone's listing in Island Events, we wrote that. The business owner contributed to that.
So you work in tandem with them.
Yeah, we're just, their information is being put out there. It's not AI generated. It's their story. And even though we don't do as much more of just profiles of individual business owners, that's kind of more on a seasonal perspective, but it's where you're gonna feel the local business even in their advertising space.
Okay.
That's awesome.
It's a representation of who they are, because they've got that input.
Yeah, they're some of them are designing their ads, some of them exactly, writing their listings, some of them are they're contributing all of their event submissions. You're seeing the people of Hilton Head contributing versus it's not just our team that is producing.
Well, and I think that's important for our audience to know, because our heart is to bring Hilton Head. What is it like to live here, to be here permanent? So this is such a great representation of, if you want to know who the characters are, who the business owners are,
storylines.
Who is here on the island. This magazine does such a great job.
And I think you can even find, even if it's two entities, they each have their own flavor.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if they're in a different shopping center or a different marina. It's even if they're in the same marina or the same shopping center, everybody has their own little slice to it.
They do.
And I think that's one of the things, as we've done the podcast, we've really learned so much more dealing with the individuals, is how hometown Hilton Head is.
Yeah.
It truly is just this hometown feel. That's part of the essence.
A place that gets millions of visitors.
Exactly.
It's a hometown.
Exactly.
But what I love, though, is it's not only a hometown feel, but there's a richness, because so many people you're rare breed, right? There's probably way more that are not born here, that live here. But what I love about it is they bring this richness and depth of life because of their backgrounds, their stories, they've been in, we have a good friend who was, worked at the Department of State for 4 countries and was an ambassador, right? But is our neighbor. And, we can go hang out, play tennis, whatever, normal person. But you talk about a richness, and they also bring a perspective. And when they start these businesses, to your point, they're bringing part of that flavor as well, but they're not trying to change the island. They're blending in and keeping that hometown feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're contributing versus replacing.
Yes.
Right. It's a real contribution system. And I think that's where you're just, it's a hometown. I mean, it's Main Street. Our Main Street looks different than other places' Main Street, USA.
Yeah.
And what I love is within the different parts of Hilton Head, each of their main streets are a representation of what that part of the island looks like.
Oh, like Caligny Plaza feels entirely
Different than Main Street.
The Main Street over here,
yeah.
or Shelter Cove Town Center.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, all of those locations are small businesses.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the real.
And they all feel like Hilton Head.
Yeah.
You know.
Even if it's like you're finding it's like an exotic food, or it still feels like Hilton Head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, did you
No,
have
go for
something
it.
else?
Nope.
I wanted to go back to the event.
You're my twin. That's exactly what I was
we
like.
do.
Let's look, because that's what the audience wants. Like,
Yeah.
it's July. We talked about 4th of July, but what else? What else are the?
I wanted to ask chairs. Should they bring chairs to these events or leave those?
I recommend to not
Bring
bring
them,
chairs.
okay.
They can be very cumbersome.
Okay.
Don't bring coolers.
Okay.
It's especially if you're in the areas with crowds, and then it also takes away your flexibility. Like if usually they're sold out come time for like various firework tours or tours, but
Okay.
if you're lugging around chairs or cooler, you can't hop on the
So
boat.
don't bring them to Shelter Cove or
I
the Harbor
personally
Fest.
don't recommend them unless if you're seeing the show more from like South Beach or from Broad Creek or like the Marshland Landing.
Yeah.
That's more, in my opinion, an appropriate place to bring a chair.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So those the places that you've just recommended are alternate spots. So can we touch on a couple alternate spots? So if you don't want to be in the hustle and bustle
Yeah.
of Sea Pines or Shelter Cove, where else can people go?
So always be on the boat first and foremost.
Yes, first and foremost the boat.
From Harbor
Or kayak.
Yes, or kayak. It's still a boat.
Yes, yes, yes.
So from Harbortown, if you do not want to be in the hustle and bustle of Harbortown,